Hello everyone, we're back with another video and an upgrade today. This is my first time trying out. I've bought a wireless lavalier mic system. Oh boy, I will put a little screenshot here of the rig that I've got set up with the 360 camera. So the way a 360 camera works is it's filming basically 180 degrees and then 180 degrees. There's two lenses. And then in the software, it stitches those two images together and you get this full 360 degree video, and it's amazing. But in order to get the microphone receiver, which mounts to the camera, in line, I had to get a whole bunch of brackets and all this different stuff that I watched in a YouTube tutorial, because if anything is out of the stitch line that you mount on the camera, it shows in the 360 footage. So yeah, there's the shot of the rig I've got set up, which unfortunately has also added a lot of weight onto this stick here. So I will probably have to keep changing hands throughout the video because this thing weighs a ton now. But you know what? All in the name of the best possible audio quality for my videos, because let's face it, this is really just me walking and talking. And if the audio sucks, nobody's happy about that. Plus, I get this little windscreen on the mic. So even the wind should have no effect, traffic, all of that, because now the mic is nice and close to my mouth and not being affected by all of the other things around us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into today's video. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, is the commitment that dog ownership takes. It takes a lot of commitment. This sort of stemmed from a video that came up in my Instagram feed, and it was this elderly man with this elderly German Shepherd, and he's getting the dog into his the back of his SUV, and he gets a little ramp out, and somebody's just filming this through the front window of their vehicle basically. And it says, when you think about getting a puppy, you should think about this level of commitment, right? The fact that here we are, the guy is old, he's got an old dog, so he's clearly had the dog for a long time. And here he is, he's so old, he can barely lift the ramp out of the back of the SUV, but he's there to take care of his German Shepherd. And they've been together a long time. And it made me think about how many new dog owners actually think about the level of commitment required when you get a dog. So let's talk about that. Well, we're back at it. Unfortunately, my battery died right as soon as I started to film the second part. Battery just went kaput. And I will say this, I'm using an Insta360 camera. The batteries are terrible. All right, I'm really putting the windscreen to the test today because it is so windy out, I had to strap my hat down. All right, I'm gonna break this down into, we're gonna look at it in three components. The financial commitment, the time commitment, and then the commitment of your patience and your dedication. All right, you know, some of us are gonna get a dog that just happens to be very hardy and stays super healthy throughout its life, and the financial commitment won't be too much. But to give you an idea, just flea, tick, and heartworm. So we do our heartworm test once a year, and then we get 6 months of flea, tick, and heartworm meds for each dog. That costs us $900, okay? So that's just the heartworm test and the flea and tick for 6 months. The years where we travel through the winter, like we go down south, we keep the dogs on flea and tick and heartworm meds all year. So now we're looking at around $1,500 for the year. Last year, all 3 dogs needed dental cleanings and a dental surgery, and that was close to about $2,500 for each dog. Chickpea went through the spinal stroke. There's a whole video on that I posted, our journey through rehabbing her from the spinal stroke. That was around $4,000. Penny just finished cancer treatment. So she had a tumor on her hip. Gone now, thankfully. We're in good shape. We've been given the all clear, so that's good. That cost around $4,000. So I would say all in the last, let's say, year and a half, we've spent around $15,000 to $16,000 on the dogs. Never mind dog food. Dog food for all 3 of our dogs is around $4,500 a year. Throw in that you got to get some treats now and then, right? Bed, crate, toys, whatever, all the collateral stuff you're going to get. And the price can get pretty high pretty quick. So I don't think most dog owners are financially prepared. Well, maybe they're financially prepared, but maybe they just don't realize how much it costs to have a dog. You can get pet insurance, but that's going to cost you quite a bit too. Anyway, long story short, it's a pretty decent financial commitment if you want to own a dog. All right, the next consideration is your time. Do you have enough time to put in to owning a dog? I mean, at the very, very base minimum, you got to feed your dog every day. You got to, interact with your dog, play with your dog, share affection, do something with your dog. I mean, that's why you got a dog, right? Got to walk your dog. I'd say probably 2 30-minute walks, or maybe what I do, which is one hour walk in the mornings, and then some time in the yard throughout the day. But there's a time commitment. If you want to look at training, like when I'm training with my clients, we do a 1 hour training session once a week for 6 weeks if you're doing my basic obedience course. That gives you a week to practice that skill set with your dog before we add something new. The homework is typically 2 30-minute training walks a day. That's how I like to do things. Things get done on the walk, so it becomes a training walk. So you're looking at an hour once a week, and then at least an hour a day of your training time. And that's outside of taking care of your dog, right? Also grooming. I don't think grooming's a big deal. I do the dog's nails and everything once a week. Takes me about 10 minutes, if that. So for short-coated dogs like these, I would say grooming's not a huge deal, but there is a time commitment. Now, I would think, Ollie, Chickpea, if you're getting a dog, like you want that time commitment, right? Like I love spending time with the dogs. Walking them in the morning is one of the things I look forward to the most in my day. It's peaceful. I just get out for an hour with the dogs. I love hanging out with the dogs throughout the day. I love playing with our dogs and just curling up and petting the dogs. So for me, the time spent with the dogs was what I wanted. But you need to consider it's a time commitment. Like if you're working a full-time job and you're gone 10 hours a day, I don't know, man. Maybe a dog's not for you. I mean, yes, you could get somebody to come and let your dog out through the day, but now we're going to start to add on to the financial obligation, right? If you're paying for a dog walker or a dog sitter or somebody, or you're taking your dog to dog daycare. So consider all of these things either come with a financial cost if you're trying to save time, or a time cost, okay? So something else to consider is how much time you're going to have to spend with your dog. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about today was your dedication and your patience and what sort of commitment that takes. Obviously, there's way more you could talk about in dog ownership. This was just supposed to be a brief overview of 3 of the biggest things I think you should consider when getting a dog. So first of all, your patience. If you get a puppy is going to be a bit frustrating for the first little bit. If you're crate training, puppy's going to cry in the crate. You're going to have to work slower with the puppy if you're trying to train your puppy than an adult dog. So in a nutshell, you're going to need a lot of patience when it comes to owning a dog, right? Even the best trained dog can be frustrating now and then. So you better have a big old patience reserve so that, you don't get overly frustrated with your dog. If you're the kind of person that wants things like snap, 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 and you're very impatient, I don't know how you'll feel about owning a dog. You might find it frustrating to deal with, but patience is going to be a big one. And I will admit this, I wasn't the most patient person in the world before I became a dog trainer. I've had dogs and I found them sometimes frustrating. Becoming a dog trainer and really learning how to work with dogs, though, has taught me a lot of patience. And I'd say one of the best things that's come out of dog ownership for me was it's made me much more patient, empathetic, and compassionate. It's really developed a lot of those traits that I wish I had that were stronger naturally, but owning the dogs has really helped me become a better person, I think. I really do. And I owe a lot to the dogs. But patience and your dedication. And they're somewhat the same, but they're a little different. That's why I put them together. When I say your dedication, like if you've got a behavior issue, are you just going to give up after trying for like one session? You're just going to go, it's never going to work. Like, you're going to need some patience in dog training. A good dog training plan, as I said, this thing's getting heavy. I had to switch hands there. A good dog training plan should not take the rest of your life to accomplish. So if things are taking months, then I would say you've just got the wrong training plan. That's not how long it should take to do anything with a dog. But you're going to need patience. Things don't happen in one session, in one day, overnight. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks for a dog to really master a skill that you want them to learn. So patience is a virtue, and I would say it's a necessity if you want to own a dog. So let's wrap this up in a neat, tidy little bow and sort of just condense it all. You're going to need some money, that is for sure. I mean, just to get the dog, you're going to need some money. You're going to need some money to buy all the things like the crates and the toys and all of that sort of stuff. You're going to need money for dog food. You're going to need money for health care. And if you are new to owning a dog or don't really know what to do, you're probably going to need some money for training as well. There's going to be a big time commitment. You're going to put a lot of time into this, but you know, I'm certainly not comparing this to having a child. I wouldn't know. I don't have a child, but I will say this. It's like your child in that, like, we take our dogs everywhere. We'll plan things to do around what we want to do with the dogs. But there's definitely a big time commitment, but that really should be a labor of love. And then last of all, you're going to need patience, and you're going to need to stay dedicated to your dog. This is not something that you have for just a week, a month, a year, okay? Which is really what inspired me when I saw that clip. That was a great point that person made, making that video meme where they were saying, you know, are you ready for a dog? Because this is the level of dedication you need to think of. When you get a puppy, it's super cute and it's playful and it's fun and it's like having a little baby and it's so cute and you love it. But what you have to remember is that is probably a 14, 15-year commitment, depending on the size of your dog, right? And you got to stay committed to that for a long time, okay? This is a journey together, you and your dog. This isn't like something you get and then you decide a year from now that it's too much responsibility. It's a lot of responsibility owning and raising a dog if you're doing it properly and you honestly care about the dog, all right? So just some things to noodle around in your head if you're considering getting a dog. I certainly am not trying to dissuade anybody from getting a dog. Owning a dog has been one of the most positive and rewarding experiences of my life, but it's been a lot of work, and it will be throughout their lives. All right? All right, guys, hopefully that's given you a few things to consider, and I'll see you in the next video.